right, everyone. So Triple H went on to the Pat McAfee show, and I thought he gave some really honest, thoughts on him now being the booker for WWE, right, as the head of creative. So we're going to read you the transcript of what he said. This is from Wrestling Inc. Having your career and what that means to you, the nerves of being a player, the moment before you walk on the court or the field or in the ring or whatever, that is those nerves because you are so passionate about what you do. But then being a parent and standing there watching your kid go do it, the nerves that you have for them, the passion that you have for them to go do it right, I think the butterflies are almost worse for me now watching. And then, when especially they're doing dangerous stuff. So, this honesty that Triple H lays out, which is, when he was going out there to do things himself, there was obviously you're nervous. I mean, think about all the people you're performing in front of. You don't want to mess up. You don't want to screw up, especially wrestling, which is such a tough thing to do. Whether it's giving a promo or whatever, or, fighting, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of nerves. And he's saying it's even worse now that I'm the booker, right? Because he's looking at this going, I care about, the wrestlers that are going out there and I want them to succeed. And the bottom line is, Triple H, when he's watching this, he has very little control once they're out there, right? I mean, they're going to succeed or fail once they're out there. And so he just can only sit there and watch. And I think even though you're always going to have outliers, right? You're always going to have people who don't like someone or are against, and we've already seen a few wrestlers that are leaving, clearly frustrated with what's going on with Triple H, but the vast majority are very supportive, and including the fans. And I think this is showing you why that's the case, right? This is showing you why wrestling just feels different right now, because he truly, at least going off this, he truly cares about what's going on in the ring, right? This isn't just, well, this guy's a good star, so let's get him out there and let's hopefully he does good for the company. This is, I care genuinely about the person that's going out to fight. And I think it's interesting. He's not just talking about them performing well. He says this. He says when especially they're doing dangerous stuff. You remember Mick Foley talks about when him and Undertaker had that crazy Hell in the Cell match that is now, anytime you think of Hell in the Cell, you think of that match between Undertaker and Mankind. And I remember, Mankind during one of the documentaries going back to, the backstage area, and Vince was there, and Vince says, thank you for doing that. I never want to see you do that again. And what he was referring to is, these crazy falls, like the fall off the top of the cell, the fall through the top of the cell, off the cell, through the cell, just so many bumps and bruises. And at that time, you got to remember, at that time, this is before wrestling is like, nowadays there's a lot of different spots you could do that, they're kind of, they're trained to do a lot of this stuff. Some of those falls Mankind took were just like off the top. You can't learn how to take that fall. I mean, that's crazy, right? Getting thrown off the top of the cell through that table. But it gives you insight, that story, into what these guys behind the scenes have to go through. Like, sure, we're sitting there watching it, and you may be thinking, man, how do these guys survive, right? And you may think, well, there has to be some way that, these guys do it. But it's true. It's like behind the scenes, that whether it's Triple H, whether it's Vince McMahon, these are the things that are running through their head when their superstars are out there. So I thought this was a very good insight from Triple H into how he's feeling, how he's handling the job, and it's just honest. He's not pretending, oh yeah, there's no nerves, everything's great. He's saying, no, 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 I have more nerves now than I had when I was wrestling, and the reason for that is because I want them to do things right for themselves and for the company. And also, I want them to be safe and not get hurt when they're taking these falls and jumps and all this other stuff. So I absolutely loved it. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you